Okay, so we'll call committee of the whole open, or so we deal with this?
Yeah.
Okay, previously in the council part of the meeting, we had the confirmation of the minutes, and I asked I didn't ask the question. So, does anybody have a question with the confirmation of the minutes? If not, okay, all in favor?
And I'm abstaining.
And Chad abstained, right. Done?
Yep.
Good?
I'm good. Now sign the minutes.
Sorry.
Oh, sign the minutes. Oh, I see what you mean.
Please.
Oh,
There.
okay.
Gold star.
Silver star. Okay, first item on the agenda is snow removal agreement MIT.
So and if I can interrupt, I don't know if now's the time to interrupt or not, but I noticed that on this meeting, there is an issue that doesn't have an issue sheet. I've noticed in a couple of meetings prior, there were some issues that I brought up with no issue sheet. So it's my understanding that everyone is supposed to do an issue sheet, and if not, then great, I won't waste my time filling out my issue sheets. And the other thing is, I was understanding there's two reasons for it. Is that if it's really an important issue, similar to a complaint form, you will take the time and you will fill it out so it gets addressed. The other part is that if this is an important issue to bring up at a meeting, which I'm assuming it is, it's difficult for, and I see it says the clinic/CDC, which I am one member of council. It's difficult because I'm assuming there's going to be either a comment or a question. So I have absolutely no idea what the issue, if any, is going to be brought up to bring any clarification to the fact, other than sit there and say, I guess I'll find out later, which will be in 2 weeks. So this is a really important issue, and you want to have the answers for it, then when you go to a committee, just no different than if it said museum board. Bill will talk about this. Well, I'm on the museum board, and if Bill has an issue, I kind of need to know what his issue is with the museum board, so then I can go and have the answers for when it comes to a meeting. So I called today. Apparently there is no policy about an issue sheet. None of us have to. So I guess, and again, maybe I have amnesia, but I thought it was about a few months ago where I was told that we have to get our issue sheet in, and not only do we have to fill out the issue sheet, it had to be in by a certain time. Now, depending on the time or moment, we have agenda items on here with no issue sheet and no information other than someone will speak to this. So again, I'm not saying I'm opposed to either way. I would just like to know what is the standard so we can all go through the standard so we're not having some confusion. And my time is just as valuable as anybody else. It only takes me a few minutes to fill out an issue sheet, but I have to remember to do it. And I got to take the time to go and fill it out.
And get it in on time.
And get it in on time. So I don't know if what everyone else is, it's just me with my comments, but I guess I'm looking for other people's feedback to see where we are on this.
Well, I think that was my understanding as well, Jen, in the past, because I think I even got pushed pretty hard that I didn't have it in on time and I didn't have the sheet ready and stuff like that, so.
Yeah, I'd agree. Like, it's pretty tough to come to a meeting prepared when there's no details on an agenda item. You know, if somebody's going to speak to it, that's one thing. But if you're expected to, like, it's just, this is the example that's right in front of us, if that's what we're talking about. So when you say the clinic or the CDC, I may have questions as well, but if I don't know what's being talked about, it's a very broad issue, and especially if it's somebody that sits on that board to be able to come prepared to answer any of those questions. So I'd agree that it would be nice to have, and it's the same thing, I don't really care which way we go on it, but it's just, if this is the way that we're going to go, then it's just kind of a free-for-all, and then we'll get back to committee of the whole in 2 weeks.
And am I correct, though, that that if you wanted to add something to the agenda during the committee of the whole, you can ask to table it, and as long as the group votes for it, it can get discussed?
That's correct.
Okay.
And when would you vote on that? You would vote on that in the council
No, it's not necessary, it's not a resolution, it's just everyone has to agree to discuss
to
it at that
discuss it?
time.
Okay.
Is that a majority rules agreement, or is that everybody agreement?
I think it's majority.
But again, and I don't disagree, that's a process, but then don't tell me I gotta fill out an issue sheet.
Yeah.
And I won't fill out an issue sheet, because if that's it, I'll just bring it up every committee of the whole and say, this is what I wanna bring up, and then, and hope everyone, feels the majority of this, or we'll put it on the agenda beforehand, with or without an issue sheet, and everyone decides, so. So now to go forward, this is a question, I guess, to the CAO is, so does this have to be put in, well, I guess, does everyone want to put an issue sheet in or not, I guess is the first part, and if we don't want to, then no more issue sheets. And if we do, then I guess we have to put a policy in place to say that in order for an issue to be brought up, an issue sheet has to be filled up.
I think, I think,
Julie, she's been having.
okay, go ahead.
Can I
No,
speak?
yeah,
I would suggest reviewing your procedures bylaw and having, what you decide on as a council together, whatever procedure you want regarding issue sheets. I think you should write that right into your procedures bylaw.
Okay.
We can pull it.
I
and
don't
review it.
think the issue sheet is in the procedure bylaw, but the time frame is when the item has to be on the agenda, when an agenda's closed for adding.
so rather than have chaos in meetings, then would you think that rather than just coming in and doing, that we should have, and everybody should do the issue sheets?
I think we should have issue sheets, and I think that our policy should reflect that. Whether it does now or not, I think that it should be brought forward that we do have issue sheets and that they're included in the policy.
Yeah, and I also think too, having an issue sheet is great to have, because everything is then, is transparent to the.
It's general information.
For the community, so if you look at, whatever it is, museum board, and then Trevor will discuss, and what does that mean versus museum board, a very specific, item that's in there, and then a discussion.
So looking at the agenda for today, the one that you're talking about is the clinic one, right?
Yeah.
The clinic CDC.
Yeah.
So if something was like, something like that, if somebody wanted to just bring it up and have it discussed and not have any voting being done on it or any going any further, they just have something that they wanted to talk to everybody about, that would be an in-camera thing?
No,
No,
no.
no, all I'm saying is, like, if you had an issue right now you want to bring up, and we vote on it, and then you would, just like the issue sheet, you'd say, guys, I have something very important to talk about regarding this. This is why I think we should discuss it, and it's an urgent matter, and then we would all vote on it. But right now, I'm just guessing and speculating and wondering what this issue is, because I sit on that particular board with another counselor, and I'm thinking there may be some questions asked. So rather than sitting here and looking really like uninformed about the topic, whatever it is, I'd like to have some answers to be able to provide answers. And again, maybe it's not even going to be any questions, maybe it's just a comment or whatever, but I think you all need to give a heads up, because maybe whatever issue you want to bring up, maybe I'll say, you know what, I don't think that's the time or place, it's not important, it's not an issue, we dealt with it last meeting. So this issue could have been dealt with, we presented a lot of information at our last meeting, a lot. So I'm I'm curious as to what the issue possibly could be. But again, we shouldn't be going to meetings wondering, that's why we set an agenda.
Right, you want to be prepared.
Yeah, you want to be prepared and it's.
Okay, so the consensus will be that we'll check, do the policy or the procedures on issue sheets.
Yeah.
And that issue sheets will be just issued by whoever for community of the whole meetings. Is that your consensus? Is that what you guys want to do?
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
But in the meantime, I guess in the meantime, we don't have to do issue sheets because it's not in the policy, correct? Yeah.
No.
No.
I think,
I think as us as a group, we should
Yeah,
should be as a
If
best
that's where
practice.
that's where we're wanting to move to.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think that we could probably have.
I think
a
we-
policy by,
No, it'll be
Hold on.
your procedural bylaw, and that'll take 2 meetings, at least 2 meetings, because it's
okay.
gonna be
Can we
amended to a
adhere?
bylaw.
Jen, can we in here agree
Yep.
that going forward, issue sheets must be presented with enough detail or something so that we can, you know,
Well, they're just an issue sheet, and if there's questions about the issue sheet, those can be
address.
relayed, they can be
Address that,
relayed
yeah.
before the
But see,
meeting. That's
and
why
I-
they're
and I don't want-
Wednesday at noon.
And I don't wanna kill this, maybe it's too late, but I'm confused, because we can now make a consensus to say we all have to do issue sheets.
No,
Just
but it
moving
doesn't
forward,
matter.
you're
We
gonna
don't
continue
have
what
to.
you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, but we haven't been, because 6 months ago, we had the same conversation,
Yeah.
because certain people didn't do the issue sheets, and then we were saying, listen, we can't talk about it, and there's no issue sheet,
Yeah.
and you didn't get it in on time. So all I'm saying is that, so we're all saying, we're doing concessions, say, so is that, so we're gonna do the policy part, but us saying, yes, we're gonna go forward and do it, really doesn't mean a pile of sand.
That's right, it doesn't mean
Okay,
anything.
all right.
We're just
okay,
agreeing.
You know, we can have like an agreement.
Yes, okay.
Our
Gentlemen's agreement.
Okay, I'm just making sure that's the.
No, that's fine.
Because we've had that before.
Yeah,
that's
No,
good,
and
and it-
not that I'm not
that-
going to, I will, but do my issue sheet like I have been, but, okay.
Okay.
I got electric last time, so I do it with it, and I get them in early.
Tuesday.
Okay, finance and administration, 4 point,
Can we deal with
We didn't
1.1?
even start.
oh,
with
1.1.
Hold on, I got
Oh.
one more. Get you off
You
track.
threw me off.
Get you track.
You're doing this on purpose, you guys. Okay, snow removal agreement, MIT. Issue sheet from engineering department.
Snow removal agreement for highways through the town. This would be for Gordon Fisher Street, which is Highway 10, 3rd Street, and Laughlin Grace Lake Road. Previously, the town had a yearly agreement with Manitoba Highways and was paid around $254 per centimeter of snowfall. The accumulation of snowfall was based on measurements on reports by Environment Canada on their website. This
How's that work
changed.
though, Jen? Like how, so 254 per centimeter, like,
Yeah, and then whatever Environment Canada said it snowed,
no, I know, but how, like, but the road could be 10 miles or 2 miles or 1 mile, like how?
It's based on,
Just the
yeah,
length of
that's
the
the length, yeah, based on,
length.
yeah, based on the height of the snow for our length of road.
Oh,
That
for
is-
Yeah,
that, for those.
those
ones
three
there.
roads.
That's all inclusive, right?
So $254 for all of Gordon and,
Yeah.
wow.
Per
Per
centimeter.
Which is,
centimeter.
that's how it
centimeter.
used to be.
That's per centimeter. So if you
Yeah,
have
that's
5 centimeters of
All the
snow,
snow and all of
Yeah, no, but 5 centimeters is still, that doesn't seem like a lot of money for all that road. That's.
It wasn't lots of money, it wasn't. Anyway, so, that deal is no longer in effect. Sam and Chris were advised by Manitoba Infrastructure to not be removing the snow for now. They have just met with them and provided the town with a new snow removal agreement for 2020. The new agreement is simplified lump sum of $46,000. Sorry, I got my glasses. The dollar amount was calculated using average billing amounts for the town to MIT over the last 5 years. As department head, Sam is recommending that mayor and council sign this agreement and would also like, for this year, and then it'll be readjusted next year once they see how much it'll actually cost, in speaking with Sam. He would also like the crews to begin removing snow immediately, so this, as they've been receiving complaints from the businesses owners downtown in the area, and we'd like that all cleaned up for trappers.
No, they cleaned it up yet.
No, that sounds good.
No, they haven't cleaned it up yet because Manitoba Highways told us
No,
not to
that's what
touch.
I meant, I
Yeah.
didn't mean the town, I meant Manitoba Highways.
So this is just
So-
requires a
so
resolution
we
to sign
send
the
this per
agreement.
resolution?
Yeah.
Okay. So moving on,
Time frame that they're supposed to go.
we go to,
They very seldom do the road on that, in that time frame where they're supposed to be keeping all the road vehicles
Highways.
off the road, so the highways can go through and grade it. They
Right.
very, very seldom ever do it at that time. They do it in the middle of the afternoon.
That's highways that does it in the middle afternoon.
okay, next item is 4.1, correct?
So
Solar
what
powered
are we doing, sorry, what are we doing with 3.1? Are we tabling that for more
3.1.
information? That's,
Yeah, that's going to be tabled for more information or to next meeting.
Well,
I
I
guess.
think it's on there, and obviously is important. I don't think we need to,
Well, does anybody have, did he share the information with you? or-
No.
Yeah, so he's not here, so hopefully tabled, I guess.
So we'll table it and I will ask for an issue sheet.
no, he didn't share anything with you. Oh, okay, so.
Share the thing, I'd be sitting here. Okay, 4 finance and administrative, solar-powered speed reader boards.
Manitoba Public Insurance is looking to provide solar-powered speed reader boards to municipalities in the early part of 2020, and they have offered the town of the Paul one. The speed radar boards use radar to detect the speed of an approaching vehicle and display the speed on an LED variable message display. The speed display is typically combined with this static non-electronic display that includes the text, your speed, or similar. The intent of the speed radar boards is to encourage compliance with the posted speed limit by making motorists aware of their actual speed. Each board would have 2 mounts so the boards can be moved to other locations. They asked the town of the Paw to provide 2 locations in speaking with the engineering department and the RCMP. Opasco School on Gordon Avenue, or by good times between the 80 kilometer and the 50 kilometer. And they also provided 3rd Street Court Office Highway between 70 kilometers and 50 kilometers. This board can be moved, whenever we feel necessary, so they can be rotated. And there will be data access for a year.
That's good.
Is council in favor of this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's great, and I think the locations identified are, they'd all be good options. In terms of the data accessed, so MPI will be accessing that data. Would we also have access to that data?
I believe we would.
And if they're,
Confirm.
okay, and then also, like I know it's, it says for a year, for the first year, like, would we still be able to access that data after that? Because it's always good to have data, especially on one of our busiest roads, for traffic counts and all that sort of thing, so.
Yeah, I will ask.
Okay, thank you.
So resolution?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to provide them with the 2 streets as well, right?
Yeah, I'll provide them with the 3, I will give them the
options.
3 options. I think they just want to make sure it's adequate, and then they have to advise provincial highways.
And that's
MPI will let highways know that we're putting them on there, because they've already got approval.
approval to do it, but they just need to let them know.
Yep.
This is in our order of importance, I guess, this list, or, right?
The list of locations?
Yeah, like Opasco School is
No,
number
no.
1.
No, it wasn't
No.
no, it was,
Okay,
So,
I can check
go on
with-
3rd Street.
doesn't matter,
I can check with Sam and the RCMP.
Sure.
They were in agreement with all 3, so.
sounds good.
Okay, 4.2, library 2019 budget items, washroom, issue sheet from the mayor. Would like to table that until next meeting,
It is in there.
because he's not here to,
I don't know, like, it's what's,
Council,
yeah,
right. It's up to
it's
them
up
if they
to
want
you,
to table.
yeah.
I don't know, the information's there, and say we have a discussion, it was brought up, so it was important, so. I don't know, that's just my thought.
I think, well, what the issue from what Graham was saying, pre-approval of the above projects to be included in the 2020 budget for resolution. I'm okay with that. He does give the
No,
information.
you're in the wrong one.
No, it's the same one.
Same
I think
one?
it's the same one.
Okay.
You're in the second part,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah, so he gives an outline, due to a number of issues, priority time and insurance claims, they weren't able to address in 2019. Now they've moved into the 2020 budget, so I would say, yeah, let's move that forward.
But it's also, if you read the first part, there's confusion as to what's being done, who's doing it, when things are supposed to be completed. Because as it relates to washrooms, there has been confusion as to what has been completed. What is to be completed, what is covered by the insurance, when it's gonna be completed, also complete. Seems to be confusion as to who is in charge of the project.
Yeah, I think that's what Herb's saying, Larry, but if you look at Graham's response to that, it provides some details in there on that second one.
Yeah, I saw that too.
I mean, we can wait, but I just think it's something we could move, like, I would agree with Graham's recommendation. But I don't know if it slows down, if we wait 2 weeks, does it slow anything down, Jim?
It just slows down tenders by 2 weeks.
Yeah, I
Or
mean, it's,
getting purchasing agents starting on the tenders or reissuing the tenders.
it is like moving forward.
You know, it seems like, I mean, if any issue was dead, it is not dead anymore. We talked about it, it's been addressed. There's been a response to the concern from the controller, so let's not be the ones now to delay it.
Yeah.
Let's be the ones that say, hey, there's a plan, go ahead and do it. Then we'll just be blaming ourselves then.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Whatever you discuss more.
So they're trying to get pre-approval with a resolution so they can get the tenders out early enough so that it can get done.
So, just a funny question. So when we do our budget things like this, I guess Julie will have to answer this. When we did this in our 2019 budget, and we approved the payment for it already and everything already, can it just not be carried over? Like, so
If
all
we
the,
decide to include it in the budget, it can be carried over,
Yeah.
but it doesn't, once the financial year is done, it's done. If
What
it
I-
didn't get completed, then you're now using $20 to complete it, right? Like if it's a
but
2019
this
budget.
particular one was.
I asked Graham, Bill, this is what he, because I asked the same question on Friday. If there's not, so like you're buying a truck, right? So I buy a truck in 2019 and it doesn't get delivered to 2020, you can accrue the dollars into 2020 and pay for it in 2020 from 2019 money. But if you don't have, you can't say, I'm gonna do something next year, do something in 2019, not start it, and then carry that dollars forward. It's like your maintenance, your dollars start, you have to rebudget it for me, because there's nothing, no activity on that
Okay,
project.
so having said that, the incomplete things that are from 2019 now,
Well, if
we'll
it-
have to have a resolution on every one of them that are incomplete
If
now.
it's not included in your 2020 budget. If you want to start it now,
if you say you did some work, you started work, from what I understand, and I could be completely wrong, so. But say you started some work in 2019, and you had a pot of money that you spent, and say you spent half of it, and you only did half the work, that additional $50 can still be used from 2019 to finish the work in 2020, because you've already got a project active, and it's carried over into the new year, whether there's delays, delivery material, whatever it happens to be. But if these other ones though, like the carpet and all that, nothing's been done on that. And we talked about it, so that has to, because it hasn't even started, that has to be done in 2020 as a new budgeted item, even though you budgeted in 2019, or you said you were gonna do it in 2019, because the project hasn't started.
because you've basically lost that.
You can't carry, it's like maintenance dollars. You can't carry maintenance dollars into your next year if you actually haven't started the work.
No, just a
Yeah.
question there.
Yeah, that's what, I asked the same question of Graham too.
now, these are capital items. Some of these items, and again, maybe I'm getting confused with another department, were some of them coming out of their reserve?
Well, this one was coming out of the reserve.
They were all from the reserve, yeah. Yeah, from the library.
So it's
has to
not,
be
it's
budgeted.
not from your
Yeah.
operating budget,
No.
it's from your reserve
Right.
budget.
That's right.
Right.
But the thing is,
Yeah.
So that's good, so then I guess,
that pot of money's still there,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
but you still have to
Yeah.
rebudget every time, whether it's reserved or not.
that's right, yeah.
All right, okay.
And so Graham's asking for a resolution
Yeah.
to move forward with these
Yeah.
so we can start.
Sure.
And then these will be in the budget when you review it in 2020, you just
Yeah.
can't change your mind on it.
But it'll
So
already
you-
be active, it'll be already
Yeah.
going forward.
Okay, yeah.
So you're okay with
Yeah,
resolutions
yes,
for these?
absolutely.
Okay.
And I guess the other part of the question that might be answering Herb's thing is, what staff member is like the project manager on this? Like is it
Looks
Sam,
after the
is it
insurance?
Chris? No, like, so the other items, like, so in 6 months' time, if someone's saying whatever happened to the gate and the carpet,
It would be Chris.
So Chris, okay, so Chris is,
Through me.
so he's well aware that.
Yeah, he's
Okay,
aware.
all right, okay, so there's,
So,
And Graham deals with the insurance claims.
okay.
Graham does that, okay. Just, I wasn't sure how this worked, because like, the contractor has been paid money already for the work that's been done, but the job isn't complete yet. So, I don't know, like, where does it end, like, what's, because there was the discussion on the, washrooms upstairs, and using the money from the insurance to do the washrooms.
Well, the
Wasn't there?
project manager has to manage the contractor to make sure that the work that he was paid for is completed. And so it's really on us right now.
Yeah.
That's how it works. And so whatever a contractor might be saying, they've got other priorities, they're waiting for material. I don't know what the reason is because I don't know anything
No, I
about
know.
it. But it's really up to the project manager to say, hey, when are we gonna get this finished? We have a timeline if there's work that is outstanding still. And if a contractor's been paid for it. Now, I don't know if they have been or not. I mean, I don't know the details, but that would be how I would think it would work.
I'm just gonna declare conflict, I need to get out of this conversation.
And then the other part where, and again, I wasn't part of these conversations, but it seemed like there wasn't communication, but then in the same meeting, it was, well, we were in conversations and we're deciding that maybe we're changing where we want this, and this.
Yeah,
And all
there
of a sudden,
seemed to be a whole
all of
bunch
a
of
sudden, we're talking
confusion.
about a lunchroom or something,
Yeah.
so it seems like there were conversations, and maybe that was part of that
Reason why
slowed
it's
it down.
delayed.
Yeah, because all of a sudden now you're wondering, looking at where walls are, what can be removed, what can we afford, what's the amount, if the claim, is the insurance gonna allow you to go
Exactly.
and change the scope of the project and just give you a lump sum, like, so those things, as you know, I mean, those, usually insurance don't give you the answer to you
Yeah.
right away, they check into what they're gonna do and cost things out, so.
So there could be legitimate reasons why it's not done yet, and we need an update from Chris.
Okay,
That's where we would need an update on
on,
exactly
on the
where
project
everything
where
is,
it's sitting,
yeah.
okay.
That's what I would think.
And speaking with Chris and Graham back in the middle of December, the project, or the contractor advised the insurance company that work would start early in the new year and should be completed by the end of January. Speaking with Chris, this information was passed on to the library.
Okay. Oh, that's
So-
excellent. Oh, so that was a misunderstanding
Yeah,
at the
we-
meeting we were at.
Yeah,
That's not how it
Totally.
came across.
So,
But the work will be completed when?
end of January
Yeah, so,
of 2020.
of 2020.
yeah,
The
so,
work will be started early in the new year and should be completed by the end of January.
so then can we ask
And that
Chris
was back
then,
in December.
so can we ask Chris then to, if that's what can we ask Chris to make some phone calls so that we move forward on the washroom portion and,
Yeah, and
get
Graham
it
and Chris are looking after it. They've already made phone
okay,
calls.
okay,
Yeah.
all right, okay. Okay, good. So then we can,
Yeah, because at the library.
Graham's
budget
been in
meeting,
contact with the insurance company, and then he passed it on to Chris, and they've been looking into it. It's
okay, no, but in terms of like, if the contractors is doing, because it seemed like the
Yeah.
last correspondence they said was that they're gonna have it completed, so.
completed at the end of January.
Yeah, so, so I guess a future update for those guys.
Yeah, and then again, maybe there isn't the delay that we were led to believe there is. If they said they were gonna do it by the end of January.
4 days.
Yeah. Wow,
I'm just saying.
maybe it's a one-day job. With 3 days spent.
Done with it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
wanna grab-
So,
So resolution will come
So
forward. to
resolution
getting
will
those
come
things done.
forward?
Yeah, for those
okay,
items that Graham pointed out.
so, for four, issue sheet from Councillor Murphy, museum board appointments.
No, sharing of information.
Oh, Sharon, oh, just a second. What did I lose here?
4.3.
Oh, okay. I was ahead of myself again. Okay, sharing information, issue sheet from Councilman Winfrey, right?
Right.
Okay.
So, it's unfortunate, so I just wanted to share some information, make sure that I understand the process when it comes to our council and how information gets, presented outside of our council here in the administration. Last week, I got an email, a random email from the DMC board that gave me a direction that they weren't looking for any administrative help. And for me to advise this DMC board, he said first, but he meant to do the CDC board. Not understanding what was going on, I asked, I don't understand why I would share that with anybody, but okay. And he was told that he was given information from our council that our budget had a line item in there that was asking for a grant for administrative support services for the person that we recently just hired, which was not correct. Our budget does not have a line item in for that, and I did tell him that, and we never were going to ask the DMC for that type of work. And I guess my concern is that whether we're going to talk to the DMC about getting a grant for anything, that information should not have been in the DMC's hands anyways, because I would expect that we did want to present our budget to town council and the administration before we would leave the council, or before we would start reaching out and getting and asking for grants. The second thing is it really undermines our committee, is that it doesn't give us a chance to really sit down and outline, if we are asking for a grant from anybody, the details in that grant and the reason why we would be asking for it. So I just wanted to putting this forward is that, I guess my question is when we're presenting budgets or information, should that information be shared with other committees if we haven't been approved?
My thought is, and I'll wait for administration to chime in, is that definitely no, considering we were at the library and museum budget meetings, and the first thing that Graham said is that gentleman or is that lady part of that board? I need to go get the budget that they have, because if they're not, they shouldn't have a copy of it. And he was very adamant that all those copies he would get back. So for me, that was all I needed to see, was his reaction during that meeting. So I have no idea why anything was shared, and I don't believe, again, you guys can step in any time, I don't think that should ever be shared until it's presented and approved.
I believe that proper practice should be that you don't share anything that hasn't been approved by the board, the applicable board. And also when it comes to council, you shouldn't be sharing anything that has not been received by council as a whole. My thoughts.
So, okay, so I mean, because I would assume that budgets, unapproved budgets, until they're approved by council, are really not public information.
I would think so. I called Wendy, I have a few questions to ask her. I was going to ask her that question today, but she didn't get back to me yet.
Yeah.
But we will look into it further. But that was, when I was CAO elsewhere, that was our practice.
Yeah, and again, I did clarify with the DMC chair that that wasn't the case. There was never an attempt. The line items that we have in our budget do not, they're clearly outlined and explain exactly what the money is used for in each of the line items, both incomes and expenses, and he was okay with that. But again, I just want to, we have to respect due process, and it's not, it feels and again, it's my feelings and it might not be reality, but it felt pretty undermining that this information got out there and that there was, something we had to manage outside of the due process. So I have no problems with us challenging the line items that are on there, and I expect that that's what we should do as a healthy council, to have healthy conflict and discussion on items, but I shouldn't have to do that outside of our council. Because once we're done, once we've agreed on something in this committee or this council, we've all said, we have to stick together, and whether we might not like all the stuff all the time, that is the decision that's being made by the majority of the group, and that's the decision we have to live with.
And as we all know, we go through this budgetary process, which is very lengthy, and at the end, or towards the end, we make many changes sometimes and don't approve this, and whether it's a museum budget or library budget, so to take anything and present it as being the final copy and the reality, that's not the reality. It's
Budget discussions aren't held in a public forum, and they're not held in a public forum for a reason. It gives councillors or whatever board a chance to come up with ideas and look at things in a different way, but until that budget is passed, then those aren't things that are laid out for public consumption. Those ideas that are presented within a budget are ideas that are up in the air, ideas that are being talked about and worked with, but they're not official decisions that are being made. So it gives boards and us as council an opportunity to come up with some crazy ideas. Whether they go through or not is what comes to be at the end of the debate and the discussion surrounding those budgets. So yeah.
Yeah, so Jen, it was just, and group, it was just my sharing of information. We're not looking for anything out of this other than that, let's make sure that we all are following due process.
But just like the CDC and the library aren't town of the Paws documents to be shared.
Yeah.
They don't belong to the town of the Paws. So the town of the Paws shouldn't be releasing them or sharing them with anyone.
Yeah.
Caught up? Yeah. Okay. Museum board appointments, 4-4, is this correct? Issue sheet from CAO.
Appointment of Keith Hyde to the Sam Muller Museum Board. In accordance with the bylaw number 4590, it's council's responsibility to appoint board members, appoint this board member as recommendation of the museum. And then I'm asking that if council's okay with items like this, if they don't come to committee of the whole, if they can just go straight to council. So it's just a resolution. It's not committee of the whole, then you wait 2 weeks, then a resolution is passed. It's just basic
Yeah.
housekeeping. We have to do it because the bylaw says so.
Yeah, it seemed like we had appointed Rod Bearswick
Yep.
4 times. I couldn't believe we were still, we did, no.
Still
I
talking
thought-
about
Still
it.
talking
I thought
about
we
it.
had, yeah,
Yeah,
thought we had done it already.
Oh, you're not on there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's-
so you're okay with moving
Yeah.
forward? Just, okay. Maybe a resolution at the next meeting.
And again, we can discuss those things.
That
at
can be
the
discussed.
Actually, at the council.
Correct, if there's any concerns or issues.
Payroll and accounts, 4.5.
We need a resolution for pay period number 2 in the amount of $102,639.87. Town of the Paw general checks in the amount of $290,679.66. EFTs in the amount of $63,196.77. There were not very many checks that stood out to me. There was one for $10,500 for advanced technology applications. That's for 75% completion of the water treatment plant operations and procedures manual. That was one of the loose items that council wanted to be
Yeah.
updated on. I am still waiting for information from Sam and Chris on that.
So they have produced the document?
Oh, yeah, the document's been produced. I believe it's in just the stages they're waiting for the water treatment plant to review it. There was one for Morgan Fuels, which is airport fuel, in the amount of $25,376. AMM Trading Company, this was for fuel and signs and 2020 stationery in the amount of $22,080.60. And those were the only ones that stood out to me. I don't know if anyone else has any questions.
It's good.
And this is another item I'm asking if we can just take right to committee, right to council. These questions can be addressed and talked about right at council instead of bringing this to committee of the whole, then take it to council for resolution. The process speeds up getting checks out this way.
How would it speed it up, other than the?
It's just approved, so then it's not sitting there for a month waiting to be approved.
But how, I just.
The checks are already gone way ahead of time, like these checks are already sent
They're
out.
sent out
This is
already.
just
Already a
catching
done
up
deal.
faster to it. And we can still discuss it here, that's fine if council wants it still at committee of the whole. But these kind of questions can just be asked and addressed during council.
And this was brought up quite a while back again too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I just don't, I don't know, sometimes I like looking to see, wouldn't we just drag out the council meeting, wouldn't it be the same thing? If everything's already done anyway, whether we have questions in there or questions in here, what's the difference?
One less
You
step.
understand?
One less step.
Yeah, the approval is done 2 weeks sooner then.
Oh, okay, but isn't the approval already done?
Well,
Through your budget it is,
through your budget it is, but your formal approval,
for your checks.
the resolution.
Yeah, so
Checks,
I'm
yeah.
good, yeah.
Yeah, just as long as
But didn't you say
But
they
you'd
were
still-
already paid?
Pardon me?
everybody's paid.
Yeah.
It's
It's
already
really
done,
our
it's just
rubber
a
For this
formality,
rubber
this
stamp. The rubber
portion of
stamp.
it.
So you're rubber stamping it twice by bringing it here, discussing it, and then taking it to
Yeah,
council.
oh, okay, I get it,
Yeah.
yeah, so no, that's fine.
And we do get a copy of it regardless, we'll still be able to see it.
Yeah, and I'll still run through the checks that are,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Consensus is?
Yeah.
Okay. That's it, so we'll adjourn from this, and we have a couple items to go into camera about.
So we'll resolve that we now move ourselves into the in-camera portion of the committee of whole with Deputy Mayor Bill Ward in the chair to discuss matters requiring our attention.